Welcome to Ping 24 Updates, your daily dose of what's happening around the world. Subscribe my channel and press the bell icon for more updates. The air in Southeast Asia crackles with tension, heavy with the weight of history and the uncertainty of what tomorrow may bring. As the Philippines and Malaysia face off over Sabah, old wounds are reopened, and new anxieties take root. On July 26, 2025, their long-standing dispute has erupted again, drawing global attention and sparking a flurry of headlines across the world's media. Recent naval encounters and sharp diplomatic words have raised the stakes, turning a simmering rivalry into a potential flashpoint. A Malaysian patrol vessel's challenge to a Philippine fishing boat near the disputed border is more than a minor incident. It's a flashpoint rooted in centuries of history, colonial legacies, and unresolved claims. This is not just about land or maritime boundaries, it's a test of national pride, sovereignty, and the fragile balance of regional stability. In Manila, politicians demand a firmer stance, calling for international support and unity. While in Kuala Lumpur, leaders insist Sabah's status is non-negotiable, vowing to defend their territory at all costs. Both governments are under immense pressure, every move scrutinized by their citizens, the media, and the world at large. Public opinion is polarized and emotions run high on both sides. The latest escalation began with a Philippine official's statement claiming Sabah, prompting a swift, stern Malaysian response that left little room for compromise. Military alerts are up, and the waters between the two nations are tense, with patrols increasing and both sides bracing for the unexpected. Fishermen now hesitate to cross seas they've navigated for generations, fearing they'll be caught in a geopolitical crossfire. Their livelihoods hang in the balance as uncertainty ripples through coastal communities. The dispute is entangled with the broader South China Sea conflict, where powerful navies and shifting alliances complicate every decision, and where the interests of many nations collide. China's presence looms large, making the Sabah issue even harder to resolve. Beijing's ambitions and military maneuvers add another layer of complexity and risk. Every move in Sabah reverberates across the region, influencing and being influenced by the South China Sea chessboard, where strategy and power are in constant play. The world watches, uncertain if diplomacy can calm these waters, or if a new dangerous chapter is about to begin. The stakes are not just regional, but global. The stakes are higher than ever, with every decision carrying the potential for peace or conflict. The next move could shape Southeast Asia's future for generations to come, as leaders, citizens, and the world hold their breath, waiting to see what unfolds. The South China Sea is a maze of overlapping claims, a region where history, geography, and politics collide in a complex and ever-shifting puzzle. It's not simply China versus everyone else. The reality is far more complicated, with multiple countries entangled in a web of competing interests. Vietnam, Taiwan, Brunei, Malaysia, and the Philippines all stake their own claims, each driven by national pride, economic interests, and historical grievances. These nations often clash with each other just as fiercely as they do with Beijing, leading to frequent standoffs and diplomatic friction. The stakes are high. These waters are rich in fish, oil, and gas, and they serve as vital arteries for global trade, with trillions of dollars worth of goods passing through each year. No country is willing to back down easily, as control over these resources and routes means economic security and national prestige. Malaysia and the Philippines, for example, both claim parts of the Spratly Islands, managing their disputes through uneasy truces and occasional cooperation, but always with an undercurrent of suspicion. Alliances in the region shift constantly. Today's partners can quickly become tomorrow's rivals, as national interests override old friendships. ASEAN was created to foster unity and dialogue, but its members' competing interests and historical disputes often undermine any hope of collective action or a unified stance. The Sabah dispute is a prime example, a bilateral issue deeply shaped by the region's atmosphere of mistrust, suspicion, and unresolved grievances. It's not just about China's ambitions, it's also about the legacies of colonialism, unresolved histories, and the powerful sense of national identity among Southeast Asian neighbors. Understanding this tangled web is key to grasping why Sabah is so sensitive, and why its fate matters not just for Malaysia and the Philippines, but for the stability of the entire region. In the South China Sea, history is never truly past. It shapes the present and will continue to influence the future. To truly understand the complex story of Sabah, we must journey back to the 19th century, a time when the region was a crossroads of empires and local sultanates. At the heart of this story lies the Sultanate of Sulu, a powerful maritime kingdom whose influence stretched across the Sulu Sea and into northern Borneo, including what is now Sabah. In 1878, the Sultan of Sulu entered into a pivotal agreement with a British syndicate, an agreement whose true meaning remains fiercely debated to this day, fueling tensions between nations. The crux of the dispute centers on a single Malay word, pajak. The Philippines interprets pajak as lease, arguing that Sabah was never truly ceded, but merely rented out, and thus remains part of their historical territory. Malaysia, on the other hand, insists that pajak meant grant or cession, claiming that sovereignty was permanently transferred to the British, and later, to Malaysia itself. Annual payments, first by the British, now by Malaysia, are seen by the Philippines as rent for the land, while Malaysia regards them as a cession fee, a relic of a settled past. In 1963, when Sabah joined the newly formed Malaysia, a United Nations Commission reported that most residents supported the move, adding another layer to the dispute. Malaysia views this as the final word, but the Philippines continues to question the process and upholds its historical claim, refusing to let the matter rest. The result is two nations, each holding on to their own irreconcilable version of history, with neither side willing to compromise. This ongoing disagreement, rooted in a single word and a century-old document, continues to shape the geopolitics of Southeast Asia today. The past remains unsettled, and so too does the future of Sabah, as both sides stand firm in their claims. The roots of this dispute run deep, entwined with identity, history, and national pride. And for now, neither side is willing to let go, ensuring that the Sabah question remains unresolved. Both sides are entrenched in legal arguments. The Philippines claims historical title, insisting the 1878 agreement was a lease, not a sale. They argue the British, and later Malaysia, couldn't transfer sovereignty they didn't own. Annual payments are seen as proof Sabah was never ceded. Malaysia counters that pajak meant cession, and points to the 1963 UN-backed survey as the people's choice. For Malaysia, self-determination trumps old treaties. Sabah's residents chose their future. The Philippines sees the dispute as unfinished business. Malaysia sees it as closed history. Each side invokes international law, but neither will budge. The legal battlefield is a stalemate. The question of sovereignty remains unresolved. Leaders in Manila and Kuala Lumpur walk a diplomatic tightrope. President Marcos Jr. asserts the Philippine claim but avoids direct confrontation, focusing on military modernization and strategic patience. The goal: keep the issue alive without sparking crisis, while waiting for a more favorable regional climate. Malaysia, under Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, refuses to discuss Sabah, insisting its sovereignty is absolute. Any mention of the claim is swiftly rejected. Proposals for joint development or arbitration are off the table. Malaysia continues annual payments to the Sulu heirs, framing them as historical obligations, not rent. Both sides play to domestic audiences, balancing nationalism with the need for regional cooperation. The result is a careful dance. Assertive, but calculated. The dispute simmers, managed but never resolved. Diplomacy is the only thing keeping the powder keg from igniting. The Sabah dispute is shaped by China's growing power in the South China Sea. Both the Philippines and Malaysia face Chinese incursions in their waters, pushing them toward uneasy cooperation. Trilateral patrols with Indonesia help monitor contested areas and deter piracy, but also serve as a hedge against China. Yet their responses to China differ. The Philippines aligns closely with the US, while Malaysia balances security with economic ties to Beijing. This divergence complicates their relationship, and the Sabah issue. Malaysia fears being drawn into a US-China rivalry. The Philippines sees assertiveness as essential. An open conflict over Sabah would only benefit China, deepening regional divisions. China's presence is both a unifying threat and a source of strategic tension. The Sabah dispute is now part of a larger regional chess game. Every move is watched by Beijing. Both nations are modernizing their militaries, driven by regional insecurity. The Philippines, with US and allied support, is acquiring new warships, jets, and missiles, shifting focus to external defense. Malaysia upgrades its Navy and Air Force, joining joint exercises under the Five-Power Defense Arrangements. These parallel buildups raise the risk of accidental clashes. New weapons and alliances mean any incident could escalate quickly. The Philippines-US alliance and Malaysia's defense pacts draw outside powers into the equation. The region is a tinderbox. One miscalculation could ignite a wider conflict. Both sides claim their buildup is defensive, But the risks are real. The military balance is shifting. The stakes have never been higher. Could the Sabah dispute turn violent? For now, open war is unlikely. Both countries value ASEAN ties and know a conflict would be disastrous. Diplomacy remains the main tool, but the risk of accidental escalation is rising. Increased patrols and nationalist rhetoric make a miscalculation more likely. A minor incident at sea could spiral, fueled by public pressure and social media. Non-state actors like the 2013 Lahad Datu incursion add unpredictability. Managing these risks is a constant challenge for both governments. The ingredients for crisis are present: nationalism, arms, history, and great power rivalry. Only steady leadership and open communication can prevent disaster. The line between peace and conflict is razor thin. The Sabah dispute is a test for ASEAN's unity and credibility. A festering conflict between founding members weakens the organization's voice, especially against China's ambitions. A final resolution seems unlikely, but better management is possible. Clear protocols, regular dialogue, and restraint could reduce risks. The international community must encourage peaceful solutions, not exploit divisions. ASEAN's unity is vital for regional stability and global trade. The story of Sabah shows how history shapes the present and the future. For the Philippines and Malaysia, the choice is stark: remain trapped by the past, or build a cooperative future. Their decisions will echo across Southeast Asia. The world is watching, hoping for wisdom to prevail. The next chapter is yet to be written.